So today, our focus is going to be working on estimation, and we're going to estimate quotients with two-digit divisors by using compatible numbers. Now, when I use estimation, I tend to use compatible numbers more than rounding because I'm looking for math facts that are going to be easy for me to divide out quickly in my head. So I'm looking at your guys' solve and share on page 245. And your solve and share says Kyle School needs to buy posters for a fundraiser. The school has a budget of $147. Each poster costs $13. About how many posters? So again, that keyword about how many posters can his school buy? So I'm going to set that up to where I'm going to do divide by 13. I'm not doing an actual division problem today. I'm doing an estimate. Okay, so when I do my estimate, the first value that I'm going to do is I'm going to take 13 and I'm going to choose a number that's going to be easy to divide by. So I'm actually going to use 15 as my compatible number. I can also do 10, and we'll go back and we'll look at this problem where I do 10. And we'll look at the differences between the two. But I'm going to do 15 because I'm pretty comfortable with 15 as a math fact. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a math fact of 15 that's going to be near 147. So when I do this, I typically just look at the first two digits and compare that to my divisor. So 14 is near 15. So if I take the 147 and I just round that to 150, now I've got a math fact that's going to be pretty easy to do. I've got a multiple of 10 math fact. So when I take 150 and I divide that by 15, I'm going to get an answer of 10. So here my answer is going to be about 10 posters. So this is going to be this is going to be a really good estimate. It's probably going to be my best estimate because here I rounded up 2, here I rounded up 3. There's not much of a difference between the two. The other estimate that I could do, well, you could look at this, you can say, well, Mrs. Strong, but I can just do 13 and I can round that to 10. You're absolutely right. I can take that quotient and I can make it 10. And then 147, I would still go ahead and leave that at 150. So I would do 150 divided by 10. And when I do 150 and I divide that by 10, here now I'm doing divide by 10. So I'm just crossing off my zeros. I get 15 divided by 1, which is going to be 15. So again, this one is going to be a good estimate. It's not my best estimate because of the amount that I went from here. I increased by 2. 13, I decreased by 10. So this is actually going to be a little bit closer. So this right here, 150 divided by 15, is going to be my best estimate. Okay. So let's take a look at your problem on page 246, that first problem. And it says, Betty earned $159 by selling 75 bracelets. Each bracelet was the same price. There's my keyword that I'm estimating, about how much did each bracelet cost. So I have $159 and I am going to divide that by 75, right? Because that was about how many bracelets I sold. And then I'm going to figure out about how much that cost. So I'm actually not going to change 75. I'm going to leave 75 alone because I know that 75 is a math fact that I'm comfortable with. So I'm going to do 75 and I'm going to take 159 and I'm actually going to round that to 150. So when I take that and I do 150 divided by 75, well, I know that 150 is 75 times 2. So I'm going to do 2. So in this case, she made about $2 for each bracelet. If you were not comfortable leaving this at 75, go with what you know. So in this case, I'm going to do 80. And 159 is going to be 160. So this is an example. This is a compatible number in the blue. This is an example of the rounding. And it happened to just work out with the rounding because I changed 75 to 80. 159 was really close to 160. Again, notice what I'm changing first. I'm not messing with the dividend first. I'm messing with the divisor first, because the divisor, by finding the number I want to use for the divisor, it allows me to find a math fact that's going to work by manipulating my dividend. So again, if I do 160 divided by 80, it's going to be about $2 a bracelet. Both estimates or both values worked out to be the same number. Okay, take a look at your convince me. Suppose Betty earned $230 while selling 75 bracelets. Estimate the cost of each bracelet. What compatible numbers did we use? So now our value is going to be $230 divided by 75. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this one to 80, because I don't know a 75 fact that's going to be near 230 off the top of my head. So I'm going to go with one that I do know. I know that I can find my 8 facts. So I'm just going to look at 8, and I'm just going to look at the 2-digit number here. So I'm going to ignore the 0 for right now. So 8 and 23. I'm looking for a math fact of 8 that's near 23. And that math fact of 8 that's near 23 is going to be 24. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 0 back on. And I'm going to do 240 divided by 80. Cross off my zeros. 24 divided by 8. So she would make about $3 a bracelet if she had made $230. All right, go to your guided practice, please. Number 1, Betty has 425 more bracelets to sell. She wants to store these in bags that hold 20 bracelets each. She estimates she will need about 25 bags. Do you agree? Why or why not? So in order for us to agree, the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and we need to estimate. So I'm going to do 425. Right? She has 425 more bracelets to sell, and she wants to store these in bags that each hold 20 bracelets. Okay, so my estimate that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to leave the 20 alone, and I'm going to take 420. And this is why I don't round, because if I wrote around 425, it would be 430. I don't want to do 430. I want to leave the 42 alone, because I can find what half of 42 is. So I'm going to do 420 and go ahead and use that multiple of 10 rule to get rid of those zeros that we talked about in yesterday's lessons. And now I have 42 divided by 2. Half of 42, so is going to be 21. So 21 is actually going to be the better estimate, because 420 is going to be closer to 425. Betty, what she did for her estimate was she did 400 divided by 20, and that's how she got 20 bags. This estimate is a better estimate because I didn't round down as much. Okay, so my answer of 21 is going to be that better estimate. Look at your next set of problems when you're doing these. Again, there's not necessarily one right estimate that's going to be the estimate that is the exact answer, and that's the one I'm looking for. But you should always try to shoot for the best estimate, because I can have lots of estimates for 287 divided by 42, but I'm going to look for the estimate that's going to be closest to that original answer. So I start with my divisor, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to round it down to 40. I'm not going to round 287. Because if I rounded 287, that would be 290. I don't know what 290 divided by 40 is going to be. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at that first digit and look at the 4. 4 is going to go into 28. So I'm going to go ahead and take that 7 and I'm going to turn it into a 0. Now I have a math fact that I can do. I know what 28 divided by 4 is going to be. 28 divided by 4 is going to be 7. So 280 divided by 40 is going to be 7 as well. Okay, the next one that I have is 320 divided by 11. Again, I'm shooting for that best estimate. This one is going to be a nice one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use 10. And the reason I'm going to use 10 is because 320 is already a multiple of 10. And 11 is near 10. And so when I do that, I get an answer of 32. Okay. The next one that I'm going to take a look at is I'm going to do 208 divided by 72. Notice that every time I do an estimate, I model my thinking. So when you are giving your estimates, you're doing your estimates, you need to be showing me your thinking by modeling with that equation. So 208 divided by 72, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this and not into 72. I'm going to turn it into 70. And then I'm going to look for a math fact of 70 that is near 208. So when I do that, I just look at the first digit in my divisor. So I'm going to look at the 7. And I look at the first two digits in my dividend, 20. So I'm looking for a math fact of 7 that's near 20. And that's going to be 210. So this is an example where I used rounding, but I still use the strategy of looking for a multiple of 7 that was near 20. And when I do this, I get an answer of 3. Because I'm going to do 21 divided by 7. Okay. Next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do 554 divided by 62. And so 62, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that. I'm going to make it 60. And I look for a math fact that's going to be near 60. So I have 55 and 6. A math fact of 6 that's near 55 is going to be 54. So I'm going to make this 540 divided by 60. And I get 9. So again, modeling my thinking as I go through. Number 6 is going to be 815 divided by 23. So when I do 815 divided by 23, I'm going to make 2320. I'm going to make 815. I'm going to go ahead and round that one just 800. Make it a nice simple one. And I'm left with 40 as my estimate. My last one, I'm going to do 2,491. And I'm going to divide that by 48. I'm going to take 48 and I'm going to turn that into 50. And again, I just look at the first two digits when I do my estimate. 5, a math fact that's near 24 is going to be 25. So I'm going to do 25, and then I'm just take that. So I'm going to round 2,491 to 2,500. Take off my zeros. Take that one off, put it over here. 25 divided by 5 is going to be 5 for my answer of 50. To go ahead and do all of your independent practice, because estimations don't take very long. So you're going to do all of your independent practice 8 through 22, and then you're going to work on your math practices and problem solving on the backside. So remember that when you guys are doing your estimations, you look at the divisor first. So if I had 392 divided by 47. So 47, I'm going to change that to 40. There's a reason that I rounded down here, or I could do 50. But I could do 40 or I could do 50 because 392 is going to get me a math fact that's near 40, or I could have done 400 divided by 50. I probably would do 400 divided by 50 because it's going to give me a closer estimate. So you always change the divisor first before you change your dividend, because by changing this value first, I then can manipulate this number into a multiple of my divisor.